Good day, welcome back to Khmer Green. Today we're going to do a little comparison between a 1 year old I-258 fig tree with a 5 years old I-258 fig tree to see how it's doing in terms of vigorous fruit production, and the most important of all is taste. I do have 2 ripe fruit on my first season fig tree that ready to pick, but we're gonna do it later on when we go do tasting. Now let's focus on a 5 years old tree. This is a mature fig tree. At first, if you look at it, you may not believe this is a 5 years old. How come this is a 1 year old, this micro, but 5 years old only this small? The reason because this tree is grow in pots, and the previous owner he keep pruning this tree every year. That make the tree become very dwarf, and it doesn't grow taller, but it grow bigger. For production wise, this tree produce very well. Let's say about 50 fig it's produced this season. I don't count exactly, but that's what I saw, because one of the branch here is the most productive. It was 14 fig on it, and the rest like a few here and there. So let's make assume it's around 50 mark there. It start to ripen fruit in around mid to late August. So this one is around a mid-season ripening variety. And if you can have it ripe while it's still temperature outside is still hot and nice and warm, and when it ripes, it doesn't get any rain like a week, you're gonna get a very tasty figs. I am blown away with one of these fruits early on in the season. It's like nothing else that I have tasted before, let alone just fig in any fruits. But the problem is big but when it have rains, the figs it turn into popcorn. You got a joke? No, me either. I said it turned into popcorn because when it start ripening and if it get rains, the fruit going to split open, and that pretty much ruin the entire fruit. Maybe you can pick it early so it doesn't ruin, but it's not going to have that much flavor, and you're gonna feel saps of the fruits it's stuck into your mouth. If you're okay with that one, you pick it. I do pick some of them when it's not fully ripe yet, but you know, first time, don't want to waste anything. Okay, let's move on up top a little bit to see anything else. This one even worse. This one is less ripe, but it's split open even bigger. Move up a little bit more, where we have one more. Okay, there's one more here. This one is same story, also split, but just smaller. Might be okay, but if it's no rain for a few days, it might be okay. At least for me, I don't really mind that much. A little flavor better than nothing flavor at all. And on top here, it was the most productive branch. I picked quite a few of them. Some is underripe, but some is perfectly ripe. This one is still hard. This one a little hard. Maybe tomorrow I going to pick it because it already split. But this tiny guys quite soft. Going to pick this guy for tasting. It's not fully ripe yet. Okay, this guy is not fully ripe yet, but let's see how it tastes later on. I have another one that quite soft. Okay, this one is okay now. Okay, all right, look like we have a good a reasonable ripe one. This side is quite small. This one is super tiny. This one is like on a smaller side. Usually this tree produce a very good size, big one. The biggest I get like 62 grams, and that's the biggest one. Okay, so that's what you can expect from I-258 fig tree after a big rainstorm. If you has more experience with splitting and you have trick that make it less splitting or work better for you, please let me know. I love to know that one too, because almost like a half of the fruits it split. But so far this one is the winner, like in terms of flavor. Oh, I almost forget. This tree I bought it for $110 from a Fitbit seller for the local pickup. So if you have or you know anyone that sell a mature tree close to you, grab it before it gone, but with a reasonable price also. This one I get it like a steal of a deal. Now let's move to the first years old tree. This one is super vigorous. It's the most vigorous in my entire fig collection. Look at this tree. I'm on my tippy toe now, and I'm not a tall guy, but at least like now this tree, let's say 6 feet. So for one season it grows 6 feet. It not just only grow tall but also grow wide. The trunk of the tree is quite a good size. It's like a size of a broom handle. At this point I want to clarify a little bit. This tree is from a rooted cutting. So when I receive it, it already has some growth on it. So like give them a few more months before I'm up pot. And also the pot size it really contribute to the growth, the vigorous of this tree. I put it in 10 gallons. When I receive it, I put it right away in the 10 gallons. So it has a lot of room to grow for this size of tree. That's why it grows a lot. But for many of the fig growers, they don't like to put it big pot right away. They like to up pot them first, like 3 gallons, and then when they see it root bound, they go up to 5 gallons and stay there for a year or two. And then when the roots get bounce even more, they up pot to a 7, and then go up 10, and so on and so on. But for me, all of my fig tree, if I have big 10 gallon, I go into put, when I have space I put them in there, because this size of pot tree, it really make the difference in terms of vigorous of a tree. But also this specific variety is really vigorous growers, because the rest of my tree I also do the same thing, and some variety it's super slow. In terms of production wise, this one I say very good. It produces 7 fruits. So for a new tree, 7 fruit is very good for me. I get 2 of the same variety from the same seller, but one of the another tree produce only 1 fruit, and also it doesn't ripe, it just drops and it branch out another size shoot. That's all it does this season. Meanwhile, this one is very vigorously and also produce 7 fruits. And we have 2 that arrive, so we're going to pick this one and do a little tasting. But before that, I almost forgot again. This one I get it for $65 if I'm not mistaken. So this guy is roughly half the price of this guy. But if you ask my opinions, if you have anybody offer a mature tree with double of the price, I would choose the mature tree all day, every day. But don't be mistaken, if you can get hand on only with the young shoot or young tree, it would be perfectly fine too. Especially if you're starting out new, it saves you quite a bit of money. Okay, now let's pick the fruits and go for tasting. But as a disclaimer, this one is also get a rainstorm last night, so it's the same yard, so whatever this guy get, this one also get, and it's probably the worst time to do a fig tasting because it likely to water down, but I cannot say anything yet. Let's see what the result. Alright, these 2 guys has been hanging for quite a few days now. It doesn't changing color like the one that mature tree one, but it's quite soft now, and I'm afraid if I leave it longer it's going to spoil. So let's pick them. Look very good from the outside, no honey. Look like different fruits, not look like eye toothache at all, right? Okay, here a closer look between of 1 years old fruits. This one from a 1 years old, look like this. And this one is from a mature tree, the 5 years old. The color is more way darker, and the shape is more like a squat flat. But let's see what the taste. Okay, now let's cut open the smallest one. What it look inside. Very jammy, but not very syrupy. Now a bigger one. Oh, this one even more jammy. Not syrupy. Look like a day, or maybe this one two day underripe, so it need a bit more time on the tree, but I just want to taste it right now compared to the first years old tree. Okay, now this one is from the first years old tree. Oh, look at that. This one looking good too, especially if we consider it the first time fruiting tree. This one is first season, so it look very good, jammy but not syrupy. The color is a bit brighter than the mature tree. So this one is from the mature tree fruits. It a darker color red, but this one is a brighter, like strawberry red. And the syconium a bit thick. Okay, now the last one. Wow, this one very soft, like cutting through a ball. Wow, this one even better. It's more jammy and also more syrupy. This one looks quite similar to the first one, but a bit better and also softer too. But again, the syconium is very thick also. Alright folks, it's time for tasting now. Let me start with the first years old tree. This one is more ripe. Wow, this one is very impressive. It's a very jammy, very sweet and nice berry flavor. It's like eating berry jams, and considered it's the first season tree, it's do really great, this one. And I am surprised because, as I mentioned earlier, last night we got a big rainstorm, but I thought it's going to spoil or water down the flavor, but it's not at all. It tastes amazing. Okay, so the other half going to save for my family. Now move on to the another fruits. Wow, this one is equally impressive. It's very jammy, very sweet, very thick, very rich. It's surprised that it doesn't have any honey coming out of the eyes, but inside it quite jammy and quite sweet. Very impressive with these two guys. So far the 1 years old tree is killing it. It's amazing, and it worth every penny that I spent on this tree, and highly recommend this one to anybody that want to grow fruit tree, not just fixed fruit tree or gardener in general. You have to try this one. Now let me go back to my mature tree. This one I have been eating for quite a while, but sometimes it's produced very nice, sometimes it's less. But let's see what this time bring. For this one, it's likely underripe. It has very light flavor. It's still nice, has nice berry flavor, but just not as intense or as rich as the first two one that from the 1 years old tree. This one is more juicy, they're from 5 years old. It's maybe it soak up more water. I'm not sure, or maybe the 1 year old tree is dry and this one is maybe it's a bit underripe. But so far it tastes still very good. Okay, now pick the smallest guy and to finish it up. Okay, so the fruit from the mature trees, it feel watered down because, to be honest, the fruit that I picked for tasting today is a bit underripe. So it's still ripening while the thunderstorm last night came. It make it watered down, make it less flavor. Okay, so based on a little experience that I have with these trees, I can reassure you that if you want to grow figs, go ahead. Don't be hesitate. And before you go, I'm gonna let you stare at it so you can start grow your own fig.